Ivan, I guess we know the first question would be, what evidence does Iran have that Israel would be behind this attack?
Well, so far, Monita, no evidence has been shown. Instead, there have been images broadcast on Iranian state media of this audacious daylight assassination in the streets of the Iranian capital, which Iranian state media have described as some kind of motorcycle assassin rolling up to the Peugeot that was carrying Mr. Mustafa Ahmadi Roshan, placing some kind of bomb described as a magnetic bomb on the side of the vehicle and killing him and wounding at least two other passengers in the vehicle. State media showing images not only of the aftermath of the explosion, but also what they say are the images of this slain professor and a man described as a deputy director of commercial affairs at Iran's Natanz nuclear facility as well. And it's very important to point out that this is not an isolated case. We're going to show you a list of just some of the other deadly attacks that have taken place in the streets of Tehran within the last 2 years. In November of 2010, there were two attacks, one of which killed a nuclear scientist, and another simultaneous attack in another part of Tehran that wounded another nuclear scientist. And nearly exactly a year ago today, on January 12th, 2010, another nuclear scientist was killed. And of course, this is already being blamed by some Iranian officials on Iran's arch-rival, Israel. Onita.
Ivan, so what could we potentially read into the similarities of these attacks and the string of attacks that have taken place on Iranian nuclear scientists?
Well, some of the methods are very similar, with bombs being placed next to these vehicles in daylight traffic. Another important point is to see this in the broader perspective of what's effectively a Cold War that's been waged between Iran and the U.S. and Israel and their Western allies over recent years, a Cold War that seems to have intensified in recent months on a number of different levels, with Iran threatening to shut the vital Strait of Hormuz leading into the Persian Gulf if a U.S. aircraft carrier tries to return there. It is a war that is played out in intelligence spheres, with a U.S. stealth drone that was recently brought down over Iranian airspace in the last couple of months, and then an economic conflict as well, with the U.S. leading an effort to try to tighten the economic circle around Iran, cutting off bank transactions and trying to impose an embargo on Iranian oil, because of the dispute largely over Iran's controversial nuclear program. Western governments insisting that Iran is trying to pursue a system of developing nuclear weapons. Those are claims that Iran has consistently denied.